Shut up and sit down.
Oh, hello and welcome from another North Wales side-by-side video. It's not the GR Yaris Sport tonight. It's Jason's trim panels out of the Jasons AYGO that his mum bought him for his 17th birthday. And we saw this damage on the car when we went to buy it for him. This is the driver's side trim. Somebody's put a burn in it there with a cigarette, and also the paint's all chipped on the black piece in the middle. And they've done exactly the same on the other panel. There's a cigarette burn on it, and all the paint's coming off the black. Oh, Jason was doing his usual, like the kids do. He's on the internet. He's on Toyota Parts Direct, and he comes and shows me all these different coloured trim panels you can buy off Toyota. But he says, I can't find anything I like. So I says, well, why don't you just repair the panels you've got now, and we'll paint them in the colour that you want to paint them in. So the other day, he told me what colours he wanted. He goes, I want what's now white, metallic silver, what is black, the same colour as the roof on your GR Sport, which happens to be, that's grey primer. No, I'm reading that wrong. That says, for best results, use grey primer. I'm a muppet. Toyota Eclipse Black, which is a pearlescent black, and Tyrrell Silver, which is metallic. Them are the two colours he chose. I think it'll look quite good. Tyrrell Silver with black. That's what he wants, that's what he's getting. Well, I've come in tonight to start disassembling the panels, as we took them out this afternoon just after tea, and the black part's only held in with 2 screws and some little locating tabs in the corners. So I can take that piece out. I'm going to do the black parts first because they're so small, and then I'm actually going to leave that panel for Jason for tomorrow, but I'm going to do the big one tonight and the other black. Flat them all off, rub them down, put them into grey primer. But I want him to flat that one off and him to put primer on that. And then we're going to paint them together. I want him to know how cars can be repaired. He needs to learn these things now. Is that when we bought the car? We bought it in here, got the chimney out, and I made him change the spark plugs, the air filter, the oil filter, and put everything back together, put oil in it, new plugs in, new air filter in it. I also changed on it 2 anti-roll bar links, but I had to do them because it meant I had to angle grind the nuts off because they were seized up. But he watched me do it. I showed him how to change a wheel with the tools supplied by Toyota. These are little skills you need to pass on to the kids, because otherwise they're just going to go, Dad, can you fix that for me, or take it to a garage. A lot of service items, plugs, air filter, oil filters, changing a wheel, changing a bulb, you can do them yourself, but they need showing. So I'm going to get cracking on with these, and once I've got them apart, and I've started flattening it down. I might do a time lapse. It's probably what I'm going to do actually. I don't normally time lapse, but I might do a time lapse. And if you're wondering what the noise is in the background, my little diesel heater cranking out some lovely heat just to get the chill off the workshop, because obviously it's damp outside and it's a little bit cold in here, so I want some heat and I want to get the humidity right before I start painting. So I'm gonna stop yipper-yappering now and get on with some work. Little tip: if you're taking anything apart made by a Japanese manufacturer and you come across what looks like a Phillips screw, I guarantee they're not. They're JIS, Japanese Industrial Standard screws. If you use the correct screwdriver, it fits the screw properly, and I guarantee that screw will come out. And it will stay attached to the screwdriver because it's the right screwdriver for the screw. Do not try getting any of these screws out with a Phillips screwdriver. You'll end up ruining the screw. I can reuse these screws. There's no damage on them. First time they've ever been out since Toyota assembled them. As you've just seen in the time lapse, I've got rid of all the damage on the panel. I've done the edges. They don't actually need doing. You don't actually see them. But what I want is, I don't want just to paint to this edge here and have a lip. I'm still going to paint, so that's why I've roughed it all up. Because when it's in the panel, you only actually see the front of it. You don't see the edge. So I've done it mainly because I'm going to paint the whole thing, and I just don't want any edges where it could get chipped and come off again. So I've rubbed it down initially with my soft pad. I've hit it with some 120, and then I've just attacked it with some 240. That's ready to be cleaned off now. Blow all the dust off it, wipe it all down. That's actually ready for a coat of primer. So I'm going to give it a wipe off now, get it ready for a coat of primer. I've got the other piece down here now on its second coat of black, and it's just drying off under the heater. That's going to take a little bit of cutting back afterwards. That plastic is weird. It reacted to the primer, so I had to rub it back a second time. So I've rubbed it back with 400. I'm going to let that go hard. I'm now going to flat it off with some 800, and then put another couple of coats on it and see how it looks. Well, I've got the other piece on coat number 2 after flattening it off with some 800 paper. I've now got it drying and staying warm because it's quite cold in the garage tonight. So I'm going to leave it there for 10 minutes. I'm going to have a look at it, move it, and I'm going to put another coat of silver onto that panel, so that will have then had 4 very, very thin coats of paint. And then I'm going to leave the 2 pieces I've done tonight, not touching them again, And then I'm going to start on this panel. You can see all the damage on it here where it's all cracked. With the other panel that I've just painted silver, I flatted this off with 400 paper so there was no shine left on it to give the silver a key. I didn't want to go right through back to the plastic and have a reaction like I did when I used the primer the first time. For some reason the primer just reacted with the plastic, but the top coat doesn't seem to be doing it. So we'll see what happens in a little bit. If it was going to react, it would have instantly reacted like it did with the primer. It didn't on that panel. And after rubbing this one down as back to bare plastic and flattening it off with 120 initially, then 400, then painting it, then flattening the first two coats of paint off that I put on it, to then put another one on it, I think that was the better way to go about it. So that thing can dry for a little bit. This is straight out of the gun. There's the difference. That was the white we had originally. That was the colour he wanted, silver rather than white. Silver. I'm moving without this case. Done. Well, Jason's been in the workshop with me all day and we finally finished all the panels he wanted painting for his Jasons AYGO. Last night I prepared that panel and one of these, and I left one of them totally untouched. Didn't do anything to it because I said to Jason, I'll do the bulk of it, but I want you to do at least one panel to say you've had some input in the car. So he spent an hour this morning rubbing that down, taking this area here where I asked him to take it back to bare plastic. And he went through all the grades. He went 120, he rubbed it with 240, he went on to 400, and I had to stop him at 800. It was like, no, you don't need to go any further, Jace. But I had said to him, admittedly, rough it up and then finer and finer grades, and he just kept going. If I hadn't have stopped him, he'd have probably got to 2,400 paper. But I must admit, for a first attempt, and this is just painted, it's not been clear coat lacquered yet, I didn't paint that. I painted this one last night. Jason, that is all his own work. He's never ever held a spray tin in his life, ever. He has done all the work on that, and when you put them together, other than one being clear coated, I've got to admit he has done a fantastic job. The other thing he did today, other than just doing that one entire black plastic panel, he put the clear coat on all of these panels. He did the clear coat for me. I asked him to do it. I need him to have the confidence to do things like that. I'm going to re-clear coat them again tonight because I want to eventually wet sand them back and then polish them for him. But Jason just says, I'm happy with that, just chuck them in the car. But I'm probably going to do that actually for now. And then if he wants to polish them, he can. It's his choice. But he wants to see what they look like now in the car. I think he's, yeah. His next plan is to do the radio surround and the gear lever surround. Slowly customising his car, just by changing little bits and pieces. And he's got the confidence to do it. You show him how to do something, he takes it in, and he's gone. He's brill. Congratulations, Jason. Thanks for watching a North Wales side-by-side video. If you like, please click like. If you like these sort of videos, please consider subscribing.